Today, we're talking about the number one reason and thing that you're missing of why you're not getting the results in your business and in your bod. And so, I often work with very science driven or success driven women who have been in their career for a while, right? And they have either been in some type of service based healthcare or maybe even a corporate setting, and they are in the process of transitioning, they want to, or they already have transitioned into their own business, or it could also be in a like service-based business where they still are contracting with other companies or other people. And when you've been working in that type of setting or system for a while, what happens is you have been really over exercised in using your logical brain. You have, um, really been using strategies, doing lots of tasks, things that are getting your job done, right? And when we're talking about you working within your business, and even for those of you who have realized that as you've had that focus on that, you have overlooked your health or your bod, right? Then you also realize like you can apply this to that as well, where you are really getting caught up in the strategy and what you should be doing to get the results that you're looking for. And so I'm going to be talking about the number one thing that is missing from that is not only really the driver of your results, but it's the reason why you haven't been getting them. And so let's go ahead and dive in. The number one thing is your why is off. What do I mean by that? The purpose behind why you're doing these things, why you want them, is missing. It's off. Um, you're confused or unclear about what that is, right? It may also be that it is not aligned with the things that you are doing. And so, really rarely people touch on this. A lot of people do not teach this aspect. They are more focused on giving you the strategy, the framework, the things, the system about what you should be doing, right? And they also are going to be, they're teaching you what would be considered a tactic, which are all the little tasks of how you're doing it. So the specifics on, how to set up your business and what needs to be done, or in your in your wellness routine, it's how many times you need to work out and exactly what you need to do, and blah 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 blah, right? There's so many different things there. I'm not even going to go into those. You can imagine for yourself in both of these areas of your life, where you get caught up or stuck, or where you start to get overwhelmed and frustrated because you're either hustling and doing those things and still not getting the results, or you are, tiring yourself out to where you are resisting. You don't even want to do those things anymore. And it is because of this. The why is off. And when I say that, this is something really, this is the purpose, why you even care about doing these things, why you wanted to start a business, why you care about changing your body, getting into shape, improving your health, whatever it is. And um, it's the energy behind all of these things, how you are feeling internally as you are doing these things, right? And so it's kind of like being out of tune. And I think of this because my husband has been in the musical industry for several years. He is a violin maker, and so he knows a lot about music, about tuning and sound. And so I always think of that example is that, when I think about energy, it's the same thing. Your energy is out of tune. It is not resonant with the things you're doing, right? It's out of harmony. And so, um, well, I don't know a lot about music, so anybody who does, we'll see if I got all of those. all of those terms correct. But right, talking about in harmony, there's a resonance. It's something aligned and coming together. And when we are doing these things, we're just kind of like moving through the motions, but energetically, what's behind that feels misaligned. It feels right. It's not in tune. It's not having that resonance. We're not going to get the results that we are looking for. Right. And so that is really a big part of what I teach within all the spaces within my programs, within my private time with clients. And it's not that that's the only thing you need, right? We certainly need the strategy, we need the tactics or the how we're going to do these things, the actions that we're actually going to take, because without the action, we are also not going to get the results. However, we really want to merge these together and make sure that it is in harmony, that it is aligned. And I see more often than not, really kind of in most spaces, but particularly with driven women who I'm often working with and I'm encountering, is they are heavily and over exercised in the strategy and the tactics, in logically what they should be doing, or even what they know that can bring them success, right? And they are under exercised in really tuning in to internally what they care about, how they feel about something, and and also kind of just knowing again that purpose, the reason why it gets lost, right? They may have known that in the beginning, but then it's gotten lost as along the way as they're trying to do these activities and tasks. Right. I've seen this a lot in my therapy practice as well. On the health end, I worked a lot with women who are overcoming emotional eating or chronic dieting. And right, if you think about that, you may have experienced that or just kind of knowing about that. People are often getting stuck in what they should be doing, or they're feeling guilt about not doing something, and they are completely hung up in the strategy, the diet, the thing that they've been told they should do, and often as like the only route of success. And they have, right, forgotten about themselves in that, but they're also betraying kind of some of the things that internally, um, the whole reason why they want to do it. Because if we think about that, right, if we want to become healthier, we want to be eating healthier foods, we want to be tending to our body, moving our body in more effective ways. um, we also want to be mindful of the stress, or right, how our body is feeling. And so if we are like forcing ourselves to do these things while internally we're feeling overloaded with emotions, or right, our stress is going way up and we don't have the tools to uh, be managing that, bringing that down, then the whole point of doing the things, it, it's right, like, is it actually doing anything? Because right, is actually going to be effective? Because if our stress level and our body is freaking out, or internally we're fighting all of this resistance, is is the thing we're actually doing really going to make that big of a difference, or is it going to cancel each other out? Right. And so that's why both of these things are so important. And if we're having resistance in doing some of the actions in our business or within our fitness routine or with the foods that we're eating, those are things that we need to work out. We need to clear that out so we can be in harmony and we can be taking those actions that are going to help us. Right. Well, it's also about recognizing that there is more than one framework, there's more than one route to get to where you're going. And if we're overly stuck in that part, then we might be seeing it as this is the only way, and so we're forcing ourselves through there thinking that we just need more force, more willpower is what comes up a lot with the women that I work with food concerns. And that's not going to get you the results that you want. And so, coming back to again, thinking about the why do you care about this? And if it's with your business, right, there's a reason why you wanted to start your business. There's a reason why you care about the work that you do and you want to bring into the world, right? Or bring to your clients or to your industry, whatever it is that you do. And especially if you've been in any of the fields, like in a corporate setting or in any of the other service-based or healthcare fields that I mentioned, you likely saw a gap. You saw something of how you wanted to do something differently than how you were doing it at your job. And you want to fill that space. You want to be able to do it in a way that you feel is better for the clients that you work with or the customers that you serve. And right, so there is a why behind why you want to do any of those things, right? And that's the part that we need to dial in, that we need to make sure is clear and is kind of the driving element behind what we're doing in our strategy, are the tasks that we're doing, the tactics, and so forth, right? And the same would go with your health, right? So even if you know that you want to look differently, you want to look better, you want your body to be fit, it's more than that, right? And if you are honest with yourself, it's also right. And most of the women I work with know, like, they also want to feel good inside. They want to, um, they want to be healthy. They want to, they're thinking about their longevity and so forth. And so there's so much more about why you're doing that, other than that you want a big booty, right? Or that you want to be fit. So the same would go for that category, is that we've got to think about the energy behind why we're doing something, and then being able to stay in that purpose, in that energy, as we are carrying these activities out, the actions that we're taking. And that is really a little bit of a dance. That is a process um, to be able to do that, right? Because that really involves a lot that can come up in our human body, whether it's in our mind and the thoughts that can come up, that dialogue that's coming up, or, in our body, where we need to regulate ourselves, we need to clear out any emotional backlog. I've talked about that in a few other videos. I go deeper on these things within my programs. And so, yeah, I think I just wanted you to get really thinking about that and really take inventory of where, whether it's your health or your business, maybe both, where this shows up in the things that you're resisting or having a hard time doing, or even that you feel drained as you're doing it or afterwards, right? So there's likely a misalignment there. Something is out of tune with the energy behind you're doing it. And so let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to share with you. Just again, that this, really what happens is we become disconnected from ourselves, and we're so plugged into what we should be doing or what we need to be doing, which is all I also refer that, like, we can get plugged into the programming and we're losing our presence. So if you've heard me talk about that concept, which I'll touch on, again and again. That's one of the concepts that I use. That is another way of saying we're too dialed in and too focused in, and we need to zoom out and really kind of center and plug ourselves into our own presence, our own knowing, and really kind of clean up the energy behind what we're doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You can give it a like if you found this valuable. Would love to hear from you in the comments, anything that you took away from this. And like I said, this is something that I um, really go into deeper and teach and help women really embody inside my programs. And the main program that I have is the Liberated Lifestyle. That is the first place to come into my space. That is really the foundational work that is going to help you really become limitless, liberate yourself and your lifestyle. And it really has a lot to do with this purpose and energy behind the strategy and the actions that you're taking to get the results that you want. So, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.